Come on in, Jimmy on Clubhouse. We are getting ready to start another Clubhouse room here today. And I'm so pleased to be doing this topic here, all about negative people, with my friend Kiana Williams. She's a fellow keto influencer. And anybody that's been an influencer of any kind for any amount of time, once you gain a certain amount of prominence, you feel the hate, the negativity out there pretty hot and heavy. And Kiana and I are going to talk about a little bit of that, but even some of the negative people in your own life when you go keto, people that will try to discourage you, peddle you excuses as to why you don't need to eat keto. We're going to talk all about that here today on Jimmy on Clubhouse. We got a couple minutes. Come on in. I am strong, I am keto. Thank you for being here. Hello, Sheila. Thank you for being here as well. Come on in, everyone. Make yourselves at home. I do interact with you guys here on Instagram, just like I do on Clubhouse. Hello, Norma. So please leave comments as things are being said and you want to be a part of the discussion. We can't hear your voice, but I can read your comments on the air. So please go ahead and chime in if something tickles your fancy about what we're talking about. But yes, I wish Clubhouse would send me an invite. I keep trying. No, it doesn't work that way, sweetie. Here's how it works. If you know someone on the inside of Clubhouse, and you do, his name is Jimmy Moore, and you have your phone number in that person's phone who is inside of Clubhouse, and you have an iPhone, then you can get in. So if everyone listening to this right now, if you have an iPhone and you want to get into Clubhouse, do not sign up for Clubhouse and be put on the waiting list. Yeah, go ahead and do that, but don't think you're just automatically going to be accepted. You have to be brought in by somebody that's on the inside. So go ahead and send me a DM, and then I'll talk to you back on the DM. Trust me, I've already done this for about 25 people where they have sent me their phone number, texted me their phone number and their name. I put their name in my phone, and then they give us about 3 invitations a week. So just know it's not going to be fast, but as soon as I can get you in, I will get you in. Sometimes they surprise us and say, "Oh, we see someone's been on the waiting list and they're in your phone as a friend. Do you want to let them in?" And I always do. So yes, please reach out. I am strong, I am keto, and anyone else who wants to get on Clubhouse. There are 2 requirements. You need an Apple device, so either an iPhone or an iPad, and then you need someone on the inside of Clubhouse who is already there to invite you in, and they have to be in your phone. Your phone has to be in their phone or it won't work. So, alrighty, you guys, we're going to go ahead and get this show on the road. Hello, Trix. Thanks for coming in. We're going to talk about dealing with those negative people while eating keto. Kiana Williams, here we go. Come on in, guys. Make yourselves at home. Welcome to the Keto Clarity Clubhouse. And we have a wonderful show in store for you here today with a good friend of mine, Kiana Williams. She's coming up soon, and we're going to have a nice discussion all about this idea of the negative people. When you go keto, there's a lot of negative connotations. So yeah, we'll get Kiana in here. I'm going to ping her into the room real quick. And ping a bunch of people into the room while we're here. Why not ping everyone who's breathing out there and seemingly on Clubhouse at the moment? So we'll bring you guys in here. I love these kind of mindset type of topics as well. And this is definitely one of those here today. Hello. I see Vivica is in the audience. I have Vivica on the Real Talk podcast today. So go listen. We talked all about your trauma and the triggers and all that stuff and healing from it. Hello, Kiana. How's it going?
Hello. Good morning. Well, I guess it's afternoon for you. It's morning for me.
It literally just turned afternoon, but yes, it is morning in most of the places except East Coast of the United States. So yeah, so what's going on, my friend?
Just doing homeschooling while doing this, creating some content, just working, just living a good life.
And probably getting a workout in at the same time somehow. So.
My children are a workout in itself. So even if I do not get a physical workout in the gym,
yes,
I am set for the day. I'm pretty tired.
Well, and meanwhile, I'm on day 12 of a water fast right now, going for 40 days. And so, yeah. You want to know tranquility in your brain, Kiana? I don't know if you can do it with the stress in your life, and your lifestyle, but yeah, this will make you so chill. It's not even funny.
You are a trooper, my friend. Yeah, I definitely did. I was proud of myself with Sean. They did the fasting for energy.
Yep.
And I did the 60-hour extended fast with them.
Yes.
And the autophagy, it really is so incredible. But with my lifestyle, you were phenomenal.
Well, I've done it a little while too. And plus I don't have yelling kids in the background, obligations, you have a very intensive workout schedule. You have lots of stuff, and you're a business owner. Tell them about your business, and then we'll get into today's topic.
Yeah, so I am the CEO and founder of CLUBHOUSE. It is mainly created for women. It is a reimagined high-waist, ultra-high-waist legging that compresses the core and stays up and can keep up with your intense workouts.
Nice.
A lot of people actually love it just because they're comfortable and it makes them feel good. And that's really my main goal when I was creating this active and athleisure wear, is bringing out the confident in all women. And it's been an incredible journey.
That's cool. Yeah, it's fun seeing all the ladies wearing your gear and tagging you, and you're like, I got another one. It's cool. Well, guys, you are in the Keto Clarity Clubhouse. Welcome. Thanks for being here today. Click on that greenhouse at the top. Definitely subscribe to this channel. I do all kinds of things on this channel. What I'm really good at and have done for a decade and a half is interview people and get cool people on that I vibe with. And Kiana definitely fits the mold on that one. And I said, Kiana, what should we talk about? And she's like, yeah, there's a lot of negativity out there when people go keto and how you handle that. I'm like, oh, you're speaking my love language, girl, because I have dealt with this for so long. In fact, just yesterday, Kiana, it's so funny we're doing this today. Just yesterday, I posted about the 40-day fast that I'm doing. And this guy, I'm not kidding you, this guy says, well, I hope at the end of the fast you actually look like a keto advocate. And I was like, what the are you talking about? No, I'm kidding. I'm not kidding you. He literally said that. So,
bless his soul.
Yeah, bless his heart. You know what I responded with? I am a keto advocate. Middle finger emoji.
Because I don't understand the thought process of people when they feel the need to bring others down. And that's like really, those keyboard warriors are so frustrating, right?
Yes.
But a lot of the times you just got to rise above it and keep doing you, boo-boo.
Exactly. And anybody that first starts kind of as an influencer, it kind of takes you aback when you first start getting some of that, because you're like, hey, I'm just out here trying to help people, and what's all this negativity? Why? And they're not understanding that's a part of the process. So take it from me and Kiana. If you start getting hate, congratulations. It means you're starting to make a difference, right? She's playing mommy right now. Let's see.
Oh, sorry. I thought I was talking with no mic. You think I would have this down? And it's so interesting because if you aren't making someone upset or angry, you're not making an impact in their world. And I know that's frustrating for some people, but for my mindset, I'm like, if I'm pissing you off, I'm getting you to actually think outside your box.
Yes.
Comfort zone.
Yeah, I always love kind of not stirring the pot. That's kind of or even being controversial. I like making people think, Kiana, because if you get people to think and they're stuck in some mindset of not being able to change, but you get them to think of it in a different way, that's nothing but a good thing, even if they get mad at you and lash out.
Well, and I think the most frustrating part too is nowadays, especially, there's no transparency in, yes, you can have different thoughts, right? But it's the fact of having that transparency where you can think outside the box and still respect somebody, even though you don't agree. it's that respect that's behind it.
Yes. Yeah, and I remember recently you had on one of your stories, you were kind of taking it back to some haters and like, for all you haters that don't think you can eat bananas on keto, watch this, and then you ate a big old banana. I loved that so much.
And I've become so petty the last because I've been ketogenic before it was cool, right? Before it was a fad for social media. And it's bringing those common misconceptions and letting people know it's the long term. What is sustainable long term? And for myself, it's being petty and eating a banana on my ketogenic account. Because long term, it is about metabolic flexibility. That's the goal. Because let's be real, you need that. Like, are you never going to eat fruit or vegetables that? And obviously, everybody is different. Like certain foods hit their glycemic index different, but it's just educating people until that curiosity almost hits.
Yeah, and part of this discussion is people are on different parts of their journey. Anybody that looks at you and sees you do your videos and sees you do your workouts, you're an incredibly fit young girl, metabolically flexible, obvious. Then they look at someone like myself, older, and not quite the physique that they, quote, think I should be. I don't know who gets to determine what I should be with my journey for keto, but they do. They always kind of put this onus on you. And so they'll look at someone like myself, well, it's obvious he's eating donuts and sneaking things on the side and not doing keto like that commenter yesterday. So what's that about?
I think the biggest problem with social media is there's that comparison. And this image is the image of fitness. Well, who determined that? And the biggest problem is that social media aspect of you must look a certain way to be healthy. And that's the biggest problem I find around health, because let's take the BMI chart, for instance.
Yep.
That is a bunch of BS in itself, because even on the BMI chart, I'm overweight. And so people are taking that education that's just so wrong and outdated. And then there's the aspect of, like I said, people comparing what looks healthy. And the problem is you are healthy no matter if you are working on your metabolic health, you are healthy. It doesn't matter what you look like, because say for myself, say we were to eat the same way, we were to work out the same way, we were to live exactly the same way, we still would not have the same results, because our genetics, we're so different and we're so unique. So no matter what, you're always going to have, and people need to stop striving for a certain look. How do you feel? That's what we need to be striving for. It's not about how do you look. Because I remember as a former collegiate athlete, I was the most fit I ever was. But I was physically fit, but I was mentally unhealthy to the extreme. So we need to stop focusing on the physical aspect of what healthy looks like and the mental aspect of health.
Oh my gosh, you just hit on something so big that I think needs to be underscored. Like everyone, they're on their own journey. And if they're on a journey of any kind towards better, why are we discouraging those people at the very moment? And this negativity, like all it takes is one little trigger and people could be off the rails. Well, nobody thinks I'm doing anything and I've been keto faithfully and my triglycerides are down, my inflammation is down, my A1C is down, my diabetes is better, but they don't think I've been successful. So let me go eat all the donuts because that's what they think I'm doing anyway.
Exactly. Well, I remember even before I was ketogenic, I was a fairly healthy person, very healthy, conscious person. But I remember when I was pregnant and I was eating a dozen of donuts a day and nobody said anything to me. But the second I went keto for my health, people lost their dang minds.
Yes, that's not uncommon. I hear that from people all the time. In fact, I do a show in the mornings here with Triple J on Keto Clarity Clubhouse, and he said the exact same thing this morning, that he used to come to work and he would eat donuts. Nobody would say a thing. Now he's shunning them, and they're thinking something's wrong with him, and they're actually offering to buy him those things because they know he wants it, and it's all this undue negative pressure to eat the food saboteurs. Oh, that can't be healthy. But wait, the donuts were healthy? Like there's a disconnect there.
Well, and I love nowadays, especially because there really is so many resources now. And I've tried to teach my children that you can have the ice cream, you can have the donuts, you can have the cake, but let's change the ingredients that aren't going to damage everything that our bodies have worked so hard. And so that's why I love, for myself, my passion actually brought me into my passion actually affected somebody here in Utah, one of the producers for ABC4 Utah. And now I'm a monthly featured ketogenic low carb guest.
Yeah, you are.
Recipes. Yeah, and so that's been really fun, just showing people you can have these things, but there's better options. Like, quit filling your body with crap. Obviously, I'm not a fan myself because junk food is still junk food, right? But for me, it's a better alternative, and especially for my children. So that's been a huge game changer, especially nowadays, because there are so many resources for just better ingredients all over.
Yeah, it's a lot easier than when I started 17 years ago, and we basically had the remnants of the Atkins diet and all those products, which were horrible then. What we're seeing now with keto and all these nasty ingredients and products out there, the same thing happened with Atkins 15 years ago. It's funny how things come full circle all over again. So the worst of the negative people is family. Like, they love you. I know Dr. Ken Berry talks about was it baby butt? If they've touched your baby butt with baby powder, they don't take you seriously about anything you say. And so you start talking about keto, and, oh, you know that's going to clog your arteries. You know you're going to have this, you're going to have that. How do you deal with family when they start seemingly trying to care about you, but they're being negative, overly so?
Family and friends are definitely the hardest part about it. But for example, myself, my aunts, my mom, some friends, obviously social media, those keto police, all were so negative about my ketogenic moves for health that the only support was my incredible husband, obviously. And with that company, my husband, that positively close person, and everyone else's thoughts about it at a distance, it now, with my consistency and that success, I've had my father who successfully learned and lost and is healthier with the ketogenic lifestyle. And now, like with the media making waves, I'm now, like I said, now the ketogenic low carb chef of ABC4 Utah, because my success has opened up that curiosity to learn for others. And I think it's really important to be open to educating when people are ready. And I know it's hard, arguably for myself, the most critical or crucial step, and especially if you're first starting out, is avoiding that negative.
Yes.
Or even keeping that negativity at a distance. I know it's easier said than done, especially pertaining to family and friends. But that is basically, I don't know, it's just keep doing you and others will follow.
Yes, and you have to protect your own mental health throughout this process, which is a part of keeping that boundary up with negativity. That's a huge one, right?
Yeah, and you know what I find hilarious and so comical?
Yeah.
Is, yes, I've been healthy my whole life physically, but mentally I had gaps that needed to be filled. And ketogenic literally healed me from within, because where before I was constantly trying to like please others, or even if somebody had something negative to say, I would let it fester and I would think about it but it would really affect me. And with that shift of nutrition that affected my brain, excuse my language, but I literally give zero fucks now. And it's this lifestyle that has changed my thought process, my mind, and it's just, I find it so comical.
Well, and here's the thing, like whenever people hear negativity and it's directed at them, and trust me, I have gotten, and this is no lie, Kiana, I have gotten for more than a decade plus a negative comment in an email, on a social media post, on a YouTube video, something, every single day. And what I had to come to the conclusion of many years ago is, that's not about me. They're carrying some burden in their life. They're having a rough day. Something's going on in their life. And this has nothing to do with Jimmy Moore. It has everything to do with them. So I always try to look at it from that angle and, I wonder what's bugging them right now that they need to lash out at me, somebody they've never met. Most people that lash out have never met me in person. Anybody that meets me, I'm just a teddy bear. I'm going to hug your neck and love all over you. That's just my personality. But they don't know that behind the keyboard. So that gives a little perspective about how to deal with this negativity as well. It's just realizing hurt people, and they're hurting.
Well, and a lot of the times, yes, there's that backstory, and sometimes it's picking your battles. Often I see people completely wasting so much energy going back and forth, even if it's positive feedback. The only way to deal with that hate is empathy. And instead of engaging in that nonsense, you just got to kind of realize that their perspective is just off. Maybe they'll find their way, but like my kids, I tell them all the time, kill people with kindness.
Yes. I always give people the benefit of the doubt when they first comment to me, unless they're just blatantly, disgustingly ugly. If they're just like, maybe their mama didn't teach them how to talk right. So I always give them the benefit of the doubt to begin. And then I'll come back with a kind response. And then if they come back double barrel shotgun right between the eyes at me personally, then they get the boot. And it's okay to block and delete those people. Again, setting up those boundaries like we talked about earlier. You have to protect your own mental health through this process.
And I think it's so important to just learn you need to rise above it all, because there will be people in life that want to hurt others and see others fail. Why? Obviously, we will truly never understand that thought process, but sometimes it's purely to make themselves feel better, like we were talking about, and a sense of power in bringing others down. So if you're just consistently rising above it all, especially with your health, I think that's so important, because do what you think is best, because no one knows your body or how you feel better than you.
Yeah. And over the years, you should see all of the people that have been jealous of me and the success I've had. They'll create whole blogs just to try to tear me down. And I'm like, wow, like I'm living rent free in your head. I love that.
It is so hard. And even like realizing everyone's perception of life is so different. Like we said, maybe it's something that they went through in life, but the problem comes, like I said, again, is when we can't be transparent and respectful as humans, even if our viewpoints are different. And that's okay, but dispelling that negativity, it does start with like a few breaths. For myself, I've learned to just breathe through it, because for myself, I get like naturally, at first, I get warm and anxious and defensive when somebody attacks you, right? But if you're just breathing through it and literally brush it off, as I'm brushing, you can't see me, but as I'm brushing my shoulders off, you need to do what you can control. And we won't be able to control others' negativity that they bring themselves, but we can control our reactions.
Yes.
To them.
Yes.
And so being able to control our reactions, definitely, I've learned over time, has completely helped me with social media, with family, because my reaction will stay positive no matter what. And that thought process has just been a game changer.
And in the online world, you almost have to look at the fake people online, the fake friendships and all that. I mean, people do have friendships that are in real life that they've built online, but there are people that don't know you, and so they're like kind of fake acquaintances. You need to look at them the same way you do as fake food. You just don't need to consume. And if you're not consuming, you're going to stay healthy, and you stay with those things that are nourishing you, which are the real relationships. I've built so many friendships through Clubhouse. It's been awesome. I've talked to about 12 people I met on Clubhouse on my phone, like talking in real life. You and I have talked in real life, Kiana.
I know. I love it. It definitely, you will find your tribe. And I think that's like what was that post that we were talking about? The law of polarity.
Yes.
You'll have up and down. You'll have left and right. And then with that negativity comes positive people. And focusing that positivity, you will find your tribe always.
For sure, for sure. Well, guys, you're in the Keto Clarity Clubhouse. Go click on the greenhouse at the very top. Subscribe. We try to bring you all kinds of content here on my channel. I'm Jimmy Moore. Wrote a bunch of books about keto and been an influencer for a decade and a half. And yeah, that doesn't come without a little negative from time to time. And I got my bud Kiana here today, a fellow influencer in the keto space. And we're talking about this subject. It's something that doesn't really come out a whole lot. You may see influencers from time to time talk about different things that have been said. And so I want to hear your thoughts. How do you handle those negative people in your life, just everyday people, friends, family, or even social media friends who just simply do not like that you eat keto and they let you know it? So that's what we're talking about here today. By the way, we're also simulcasting over on Jimmy on Clubhouse on Instagram. So we got Jules and Samples and Clyde and Marcus and Candy and Stacy. So many people coming in. Cece, thank you all for being here watching live. You can watch it on the replay over there, IGTV, when this is over, and I'll put it up on YouTube. Type in a keyword, Jimmy on Clubhouse, and you'll find it over on YouTube. But Lesha came up to give us a comment. Lesha is a fellow influencer as well. Lesha, you get any hate anytime? I know the answer.
Oh my G, straight. Since 2015, I've been getting the haters.
Yes, it means you've been making a difference, my dear.
I've actually had to write an article, like a blog post about this on my blog, because how to deal with keto haters, because I had so many haters. Because you guys know, like when you guys started earlier and there wasn't all this information, so everybody's like, you're eating fat, you're gonna die. And so it was really hard, but I think a couple things that helped for me is I always say the proof is in the pudding, whether that is weight loss or that's your blood work, right? Like if people don't understand, prove it to them, right? Whether that is sending them a research article, whether that them just seeing you feel better, look better, have more energy, being nicer, whatever that is the best type of proof. Because you can talk about it and you can argue with them all day long, but that's not going to make a difference. But if they see it on you, they're going to be like, whoa, there's something about this that's actually legit and working. And another thing that really helped me is like, okay, I did this a few years ago just to kind of prove about how keto is not bad and it's awesome. You can still enjoy great food. I host a Christmas dinner party every single year, and it's this big thing. I invite a bunch of people. And one year, and it was like a lot of my husband's friends, my friends, couples. One year, I told my husband, I'm like, I'm going to make this dinner party keto this year. And my husband almost had a heart attack. He's like, what? And I'm like, no, just chill. Don't tell anybody. I'm going to make it keto. So I made all these, like, nowadays you can make any recipe keto. Cauliflower mash. I had like the best menu. Everyone was like, they loved the food. They were going for seconds. And then at the end of the party, I'm like, hey guys, how'd you enjoy that keto dinner? And they're just like, what? That was keto? I'm like, yeah, surprise. Keto is not like something different than normal food. And then I think that really a lot of them now then realize, oh my gosh, wait, this is actually just like normal food. I just don't eat carbs, refined carbs and sugar. Like, it's not that much different than eating normally. So those are just a few things that I would add in.
That about keto, Kiana, that when they find out what it really is, they're like, oh, really? I kind of eat that way. Kiana?
It really is so crazy. Just that. It's like that aha moment.
Yeah. That's where they would hate. So it was very minimal. But then when it barraged on you, it just came hot and heavy. But by then I was used to it. So. Lesha, thank you for that. Next up, we have Ben Azadi. He's a fellow influencer as well. Ben, any hate come your way?
Jimmy Moore, good to see you. Good
Hey,
to
bud.
hear you, brother. I'm actually here at the hotel in Utah with Dr. Dan Kirshner, who's on the room right here too. So
Nice.
Cool
Stop it.
dynamic.
Welcome to Utah.
Are you here too, Kiana?
Yes, I'm in Salt Lake.
Oh, awesome. We're here in Pleasant Grove. We have an event tomorrow. But yeah, Jimmy, to answer your question, I love this conversation. I've seen a lot of hate. Haters going to hate. Haters will see you walk on water and say it's because you cannot swim. But it's really not about the haters. It's really about your competence. And I believe your competence and what you're doing gives you confidence. And that conviction wins. So when it comes to haters, it's just a natural byproduct of getting out there and creating waves. And if you don't have haters, I think that's the real problem.
Yes.
Because you're just playing it too small. So I always talk about crabs in a bucket, the crabs in a bucket story. And this could be related to people in our lives that are hating on us, obviously hating on us with comments, or it could be family members. But it turns out you could put 20 crabs in a bucket and leave those 20 crabs in the bucket without a lid overnight. Come back in the morning and all 20 crabs will be there. And you might be wondering, well, why didn't they just try to escape and break free? Well, they did. And anytime a crab tried to escape and break free, the other crabs would drag it back down, claw at it, and bring it back down to the bucket, not allowing them to break free. And we have people like that in our lives. They're haters that are obvious, but they're also the naysayers that make these gentle comments like, why are you eating bacon? Why are you doing intermittent fasting? You're going to slow down your metabolism. It's these subtle comments that if you're not convicted in your message and competent, it could overwhelm you and lead you to actually go off track. So it's so important to be really well versed in how your body works and surround yourself with people like Jimmy Moore, like join more of his rooms. He's so supportive. He's a blessing to this world. And the more you could associate with people who are like-minded, we become our environment. So those are my 2 cents, Jimmy.
Check's in the mail, brother. Kiana, any comments?
I've actually never heard that crabs in a bucket. I am totally using that analogy.
Steal it.
All the credit. But I
Yes.
love that, especially for my children. I like little concepts that they can relate to like that.
Yes, you should go get a bucket of crabs and prove it in real life, Kiana.
I will head to the Caribbean and do so.
There you go.
I love it.
Thank you, Ben. Yeah, speaking of the Caribbean, Kiana, I remember you recently went on a trip. You got some hate from that. You want to kind of tell that story too?
Oh, yeah. So, my family actually, we are very holistic on our health. And when the pandemic hit, obviously it is, I don't even know how to go into this. We did travel safely. Excuse me. We did travel safely during the entire pandemic. We made sure that we were obviously being courteous of other people, and that's the number one reason why I actually decided to homeschool my children, so they didn't have to wear masks. Yesterday, actually, my girlfriend sent me a picture, and her daughter did a self-portrait, and she drew a mask on her own face, and that's how kids are psychologically seeing themselves. She didn't give her a smile. That's how they're relating with one another. And so for me to give my children that space of almost that normality has been incredible. And so we did decide to take our family for mental health. For myself, I do get seasonal depression. And the sunshine, obviously being Utah, it's really cold. I'm trying to talk my husband to getting out of here. But for myself, it's traveling is my outlet for my mental health. And so we decided to go to St. Thomas. For those of you who aren't educated, it is a U.S. Virgin Island. It is U.S. territory. And so there are steps that you do take. So we had to make sure we tested negative. No vaccine is required. And they do take the precautionary steps to where people are traveling safely with one another. And we decided to go out there, spent about 2 weeks almost out there.
Yep.
For our mental health, and then we came back, and I'm not one to hide my life because it is important to be transparent, like I spoke of. So I posted all about it, shared with others, and we obviously got lashed out and a lot of negativity towards us traveling because how dare us during this pandemic, people are dying, and how dare you, and I hope your children get it, and I hope they get sick, and all of this just negativity. And for myself, I knew that was going to happen, but I'm surrounded by doing what I know is best for my family, and that does include everybody else doing what is right with their family. And it was still important for me to be precautious during traveling because it is important to be considerate of others. But living our life, we are not going to stop. For myself, I teach my boys, do not live in fear ever, no matter what it is. Think for yourself. Have thoughts for yourself. Question things. It's okay to question authority with respect.
Yep.
So that was really interesting.
Well, and the cool thing you did was you supported that economy of those countries that are used to having people on vacation and they're not having as much. So that was a big part of this as well.
So that was actually so I am Polynesian, in my background. And so Tonga is one of the Pacific islands. We actually have not been able to go back because they shut down the island. And a lot of these islands, there's a bigger picture that people are not looking at. So that was another huge reason for us traveling somewhere else, because we've been there multiple times, and their tourism, every single person we ran into, they were so kind and so grateful, because their economy is just hurting over this. And so if we can go, it is important to support local companies, correct? But it's also to support one another, support the human race. And so for us, we actually put aside a huge amount of money to just be able to tip every single person that we ran into, because it was a huge deal for them to just have people in their life to support them. And they want people to come, but people aren't coming because they're living in this fear.
Well, in a lot of those places, they were allowing cruise ships to come, and the cruises have been shut down forever. And I just saw that they're canceled till at least later this year, if not early next year. So yeah, these I don't know how they're going to survive.
And with that, it's so hard. And we've actually put together for the islands that we can't go to, we've put together, there's a lot of, what are those pods or the mobs,
Yep.
that you can put together and send out, and that's been the best form. Like we're trying to go to the Grand Cayman right now to go help out others there, but Grand Cayman isn't allowing anybody in currently, so
Yeah.
that's been a struggle. So anywhere you can help, if you guys are comfortable with going to the Virgin Islands, go support them.
Yes. Thank you, Kiana, for that. Vaughn, what you got for us? Any negativity for Keto Jesus?
Hey, Jimmy. Hey, Kiana. Thanks for having me. You know that I'm not about negativity whatsoever, right? And I believe negative people are just going to be negative. It's very easy to become a sheeple, to be told what to do and then just do it, right? And I think you got to be very open-minded to learn, to be able to receive, right? And the truth be told, that there's not I wouldn't say there's more people that are closed-minded than open-minded, but however, we seem to attract those kind of people, right? Like they want to come at us because, oh, it's keto, right? Oh, you're doing that keto thing, you're going to have heart disease and die, right? And it's just because it's what they've been told. It's how they've been educated, and they're just not really open to different educations, you know. I'm actually at a dental hygienist conference right now, and we're talking about fluoride, right? Like, is it good? Is it bad? You know, and the fact of the matter is, there's a lot of science saying it's not. So are you open-minded to learn a little bit more on the positives and the negatives? However, most people aren't, right? So, it's a holistic dentist thing that we're at, and I think it's very important to be able to, unlearn what we learned in the past to relearn, because sometimes you have to understand, hey, things change. There's different, research out there going on each and every day. But, as far as the negative people go, I try to, do nothing but breathe positivity into people each and every day. And a lot of that comes down to their belief system. So when somebody's being negative against you, believe this: they're looking in a mirror. They may not actually be speaking into you or talking negatively about you. They're really, sending those sentiments to themselves. However, you just kind of are that sounding board at that moment. So, like Benazati said a few minutes ago, haters are going to hate. There's not really much you can do about it. And it's not my job to try to convince them of any different, right? It's just my job to continue to press forward and inspire others to be able to be open-minded, to be able to look at new things, different things. And, one of my passions is just to pour positivity into people and continue to lift others up. And I think right now, with the situation that we're in, and the division coming in the world, and everybody knows, or a lot of people on here know, Jimmy especially, I'm a Christian, and my faith is 100% huge to me, and I'm very bold about that. And then there again, you'll get some negativity, right? Some will, some won't. So the fact of the matter is sometimes we can just try to be, the little bit of a nudge to help people see something differently. And it may not be us that actually takes them down that road, but it may have been you that actually opened up the door for them to kind of peek in a little bit. So I encourage everybody here to continue to keto on, to continue to be positive, and continue to be the light in others' dark moments. So thank you guys. Thank you, Jimmy, Kiana, Vaughn Hendricks, and I'm done speaking.
Thank you, Vaughn.
And I love that so much because it really is important. Change your perception and you can change your perspective. Be open-minded. That's what I got from it. Change your perception of it and you can change your perspective.
And a lot of times the negativity towards people that eat keto is they're feeling convicted that you have made a choice that they're not yet willing to make. And so to lash out at you is to somewhat pull back control in their life when they know you're doing something positive for your health and they're being made to look, at least in their own eyes, as not doing a choice like that. And then, Vaughn, to your point about the Christian thing, 3 years ago, I posted on Instagram, because I'm a Christian, I posted on Instagram, today Jesus rose from the grave for our sins, and I'm grateful for his presence in my life, da-da-da-da-da. And you should have seen the negative comments I got from it. And I came to the conclusion where I had to do a follow-up post. Guys, you can't separate Jimmy Moore, the keto guy, from Jimmy Moore, the Christian. They're the same guy. Like, people want to put us in a box, Kiana, and that's another thing, especially for online people. They want to put you in a box that you can't, like, stay in your lane. I hate that phrase. No, my lane is my life, and my life is whatever the hell I want it to be. So, those kind of people are always going to be out there.
Well, I think it's so
Jimmy.
Oh,
And I think it's to be expected, right? Like,
yes.
It's one of those things that's to be expected, and it too shall pass. So sometimes I don't even, kind of give rebuttals to certain things because it just kind of stokes the fire to continue more, conversation with.
True.
Sometimes, let a sleeping dog lie.
Yeah, stoicism.
So I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vaughn. Kiana?
I got distracted by my children and definitely forgot our
Look, a squirrel. Daniel, you're up next. What's up, bud?
Hey, good morning, Jimmy.
Hey, man.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for creating Keto Clarity.
Sure.
Loving the room, loving everything you do, brother. I actually started a big, deep fast when you started on day one almost 2 weeks ago now.
Yep.
So I did my 5-day fast with my Fast Keto Reset group. And I just wanted to chime in with your topic, dealing with negative people.
Yep.
People get so attached. And in my practice, when I'm working with patients and we're talking about keto or we're talking about intermittent fasting or fasting in general, people are always like, oh, I tried that before, it didn't work. I did keto and it just didn't work for me, or they just want to, like, they're attached to their problems. They're attached to, like, this ignorance, or this perceived that they know everything about it, when they truly don't have a full understanding, and they don't understand how it's affecting their lives, and they don't understand how it's influencing their pain, and they're resistant. The patients and people that are going through problems, they kind of get stuck in this rut, and I see my job, I see our mission is to enlighten them and help them understand, hey, look, there is more to your pain than the pain is the solution to your pain is within, and you need to just be open and try something different, try something new, in order to get a different result. Because as they say, insanity is the definition of doing the same thing over and over and over again. And so once they realize that no, they haven't really implemented a program, they haven't really started working on their problem, that's when they start to see the difference. And so I just try to be an example and a light for them, and try to pull them in the right direction. So I always try to, like, meet them where they're at and try to understand their psychology about why they're resistant to change, and then just try to open them up to a new possibility. So I always try to, like, I don't respond to hate with more hate. I respond with light.
Yes.
So I just wanted to, chime in with those thoughts, and, just encourage everyone to keep up the good work and keep being a light and a guide to those that need us, because truly the world and everyone needs healing. And that's what I want to do for myself, and that's what I want to do for my patients. So keep shining.
All we need is love, love.
Daniel, I'm so proud of you. I love that you're a chiropractic physician because I love my chiropractor and I see him once a month. And so thank you for all the work that you're doing. Like, and especially to a deeper sense of health and not just your practice, because I think that's one of the biggest things. And just keeping people in general, humans are very, and especially nowadays, I felt people are very impatient, and it's with that consistency that is the main goal. You've got to be consistent. There's no magic pill. There's no quick fix. It will take that consistency. So keep doing that, Daniel. I love it. So proud of you.
Thank you. Yeah, patients, they all want to get better yesterday, and I'm like, look, it took you how long to get to this place? How many months, how many years did it take you to get to this place? And it's going to take some consistent effort, some consistent change in your life in order to get you to heal. And, intermittent fasting, keto is a tool that has incredible power. And once people realize the power, it's not about looking good. It's not about getting into your skinny jeans. It's not about a number on a scale. It's about healing your body. It's about transforming your cellular function. It's about protecting your brain and increasing your longevity. And that's what I'm trying to impart to my patients that I work with. So thank you guys so much. I love this room. I love what you're all doing.
Thank you, Daniel. And, part of that...
Hey, Jimmy.
Yes?
Hold on a second. Jimmy.
Hey, Ben.
Hey.
Is he playing a song? What's he doing? Yeah, I'm here, bro.
Oh, no, it's Ben now. It's Ben Azadi.
Yeah, I know it's Ben. I said, hi, Ben. Go, bud.
I didn't hear that part. I was going to just say, Kiana, I love your energy. You're so positive, and I'm grateful that we connected here right now. You said you're in Utah. We're going to be speaking at an event here in Utah in Pleasant Grove tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday. I'd love for you to attend. So,
yes.
If you want to learn more about it.
Absolutely.
We're going to talk all about the mask, all about everything that you shared. So message me. I just wanted to say you're awesome, and you've got some great energy.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, I would love to meet up. Anybody that's visiting Utah, I love making those actual real-life connections. So I'm so glad you said something.
Yes, let's get together, Kiana. That would be great.
Yeah, Ben, you didn't throw me for a loop. I recognize your voice. It's very recognizable. I was like, Daniel either got a cold real fast or Ben Azadi is on the line. So, but what I was going to say was it's the whole label of keto. If you just tell them you're eating real food and you tell them you're eating kind of nutrient dense, they don't blink an eye, Kiana. But somehow that K word becomes a 4-letter word. It is, but it becomes a literal one that people have a visceral reaction. But if you tell them, oh, I'm eating a real foods-based diet to be healthy, nobody blinks an eye, and it's the same thing.
Well, and what's really interesting nowadays that I've introduced, hi, I'm Kiana Williams, a low-carb keto chef. It's interesting that low carb kind of gives people a sense to, I'll perk up and I'll listen. But the second they hear keto, it's like shot out the window. So from a networking standpoint, I always throw in the low carb keto because low carb is keto, people. You are in a state of ketosis, so I think that's funny.
Can I give you a secret though? 17 years ago when I created Livin' La Vida Low Carb had the same stigma as keto does today. So it's evolved. Oh, yeah. Low carb is only acceptable now because I guess people like me and others kind of legitimized it over the years. And then all these other kind of labels came. I was low carb paleo, and then of course, low carb keto. And so, yeah, it used to be viewed in a very different way. And I wonder if over time, the evolution of keto being a part of the vernacular, that it will reach the same kind of acceptable status that low carb has now.
Well, I love that so much.
Yeah. Jennifer had a film about low carb keto, and fat fiction is what it's called. Jennifer, any hate because of your film?
Oh boy.
Oh boy, says it all.
The understatement of the afternoon. Yeah, it's interesting. Boy, you put a film out in the world and everybody and their brother and uncle and niece and nephew feel obligated to make comments, which is great. I mean, it's good to get the feedback too. But yeah, it's tough. The biggest platform we're on is Amazon, and Amazon, you kind of live and die by the reviews if you're a filmmaker. And, we definitely have been targeted by the plant-based community and making claims against the film that it's all animal farming propaganda, and that we were all obviously paid by the, meat industry to make this film, which is completely not true. We very specifically didn't take any food industry funding. But yeah, it's kind of tough, and I don't know that I have any, wonderful words of wisdom. Like Kiana, you're, so great, and Daniel, it's wonderful to hear your advice and ideas. But I guess I just try to focus on the reviews of people who have gotten their health back and changed their lives. And I mean, we've had so many people comment on the film that, they watched it, they started eating keto, and they reversed their type 2 diabetes, or, their father-in-law is off insulin for the first time in 20 years. And so, Jimmy, you've been in this so much longer than I have, and I'm sure you have gotten those kind of comments as well. Those are the ones that just really lift me up. But I still am, it's still hard to look away from the negative comments, but I just try to focus on the positive ones.
Yes, that is such a good point. I'm glad you brought it out, Jennifer, that the preponderance of the feedback is overwhelmingly positive. I mean, I have people every day thanking me for writing Keto Clarity and the Complete Guide to Fasting and all the work that I've done over the years. And it's one little comment, Kiana, that will just go, why do we do that? Because we get overwhelming, like 90-something% of it is positive, but those negative ones just linger.
Yeah, and actually, that's the same with our film. Is 95% of them are just, thank you so much. I've learned from this, and you've changed my life.
Yes.
But it's funny we have one-star review that's at the top of our reviews right now. It drives me crazy. But anyway, try to focus on the positive, I guess.
Thank you, Jennifer. Kiana?
Yeah, and I think obviously over time it's that practicing that positivity, because it does completely start with our mind. And for example, I did a post when we came back from the island. There was some comments that, oh, you're a mom and you're wearing a thong bikini. Like, how dare you? You're not teaching your kids. Obviously, this is not keto, but this is just dispelling that negativity. I had people come to the rescue. Like, you will find your tribe, and it's a lot. It's hard to focus, even though you have so many positive things. It is hard sometimes to just focus on that one little thing. But that little thing can be a sliver in your foot. Take that sliver out, focus on that positivity, and just keep focusing on that, because the more you practice it, dispel that negativity and move on. Rise above it.
Hear, hear. Love that. Shanna is a registered dietitian who promotes kind of keto and fasting. That doesn't bring on any hate and negativity, does it, Shanna? Is she there? Yeah, there she is.
Hi, Jimmy. Hi, Kiana. What's interesting about my practice is I've been in the field for over 20 years, but it's only been about a year and a half that I've been out on my own. So I'm just starting to dabble with all of the haters and the unfollowers. And usually it's something, if I post something, anything like political or anything about the virus, that always strikes a chord. But the point that I wanted to make was, you both are kind of alluded to it already. For the first 15 years, I was recommending the standard guidelines, not making any waves, but not really helping anybody either. And then in 2016, my son got very ill with inflammatory bowel disease. And I put him on a very strict diet. I did it along with him. It's similar to keto, but it's a little bit different. And like you were saying, nobody blinked an eye about that. It's like, oh, well, how can we help your son when he comes to our house? What can he eat? What can we do? And it was no one wanted to do anything but help. And then even when I wrote my book called Fast to Heal, and I teach intermittent fasting, and I teach how to eat a keto-based diet, but I never call it that. So it's just interesting because I focus more on, okay, if you want to heal these disease processes, this is the nutritional therapy that is going to reverse your chronic disease. And again, nobody really even looks at me differently or blinks an eye about that. And I don't have them, count things, but I'm teaching them to eat real whole food and
Yes.
higher fat, higher protein. And they don't really think much of that. But the moment, you're so right, the moment you put keto or you label it, then people get all up in arms. So I guess, maybe that was kind of wimpy of me not to term the keto, but I did put in my book, if you follow keto diet and you feel great on that, then that's what you should follow.
Sure.
But yeah, so that's been really interesting. And like I said, I'm just starting to get to the point where people are starting to write and unfollow, and if they're not agreeing with everything that I recommend. But yeah, I find when you say it's more of a nutritional therapy that's going to reverse certain disease processes, people are much more receptive to it.
Yes, you are going in the lion's den as an RD, kind of pushing that message. So kudos to you for your bravery.
Thank you.
And I love that, Shauna, so much, because what I've noticed with humans, especially when they're not ready to take in that information, they don't want to make those life changes unless it's a necessary move when their health is at risk. Why wouldn't you make these moves while you're still healthy and you can help your body before it's a death sentence, if that makes sense? And a lot of the times I've even talked to my mother is the worst. She's the best, but she's the worst when it comes to health, because she doesn't want to have to do it. She's like, I'm fine, but she is struggling. She's always complaining, well, I'm always hurting and I'm always getting headaches. And I'm like, yeah, because it's that Coke a day that you're having with all that crap. And she's like, well, I'm not going to change unless I have to change. It shouldn't be a have to or a last minute movement because your health is at risk. It should just be doing it because you want to live a better life, period, without having to have those medical risks. Oh, okay, then I'll change my lifestyle, because you have no choice. We need to do it before that incident happens. And I love that you brought in children, especially. My kids are more holistic health. They're not keto specifically, but they will choose kale chips. Excuse me, boys. Hold on. Be quiet.
Speaking of boys.
They will choose kale chips over a pudding pack because that's what I've taught them. I've educated them. Yes, they know that indulging is okay, but they know what foods, educating people, what foods will make you feel good long term is the best. And even in the keto lifestyle, people are like, well, you never cheat or you never do this or that. Keto, yes, I will go. Everybody goes on vacation, correct? But keto is my home. This is how I feel best. And this is where I will always come back no matter what.
Hear, hear. Vaughn, you came back up. What you got, bro?
Yeah, Kiana, I love that, and I really look at keto as being preventative maintenance, right? And what we're looking at now is preventing the disease, if you will. And I think not only that, but like you were just talking about your children, it's for generations to come. So now that we're creating this lifestyle and doing what we're doing in the here and now, it's preventative maintenance for our kids because you're teaching them a different lifestyle. Most of us probably cook the way our moms cooked or our grandmothers cooked because it's generational, right? And I want everybody to feel my heart with this. We're creating a generational shift for a better future for our kids and their kids. So I just want to touch on that. And I think a lot of people do get into keto because, they're markers. They've gone to the doctor and they found out that they have an issue. And great. Like sometimes that's what it takes. But they need to understand is they're being the leaders for their family at that point forward for preventative maintenance to stop those kind of things from happening. So, I really love the rooms that you have, Jimmy, the Keto Clarity here. Thank you for always coming on and adding value, bringing amazing people like Kiana on here and just pouring into us. I really do appreciate that. And super excited for your 40-day fast there, man. Congratulations where you're at so far. And I know what this does for you too. Rooms like this, being able to plug in and pour your heart in here, and it also helps encourage you to continue to move forward. So because that's what it does for me. So thank you guys. Vaughn Hendricks, I'm done speaking.
Thank you, Vaughn. Yes, this is my nutrient density at the moment as I'm having no food. So, all right. Last but not least is a longtime friend of mine. I knew Zach many years ago. Zach Bitter. He's you're still the world record holder for the ultra marathon. Is that right?
Hey, Jimmy. Yeah, thanks for setting this up. I've got the world record for 100 miles and distance traveled in 12 hours.
So, guys, he is a ketogenic marathon runner, and I'm sure that has come with a little bit of negativity over the years, right?
Yeah, I think the endurance community as a whole, I would say maybe a little bit less so. The ultra marathon community is very much carb centric.
Yes,
I would say so. You're definitely in a minority group when you're taking my approach by the numbers, but it's been kind of cool. I've been doing it since end of 2011, so I've got a little bit of time under my belt, and I have seen a lot more kind of positive shifts as more and more folks play around with it. The interesting thing with ultramarathon and any extreme endurance sport is it's just so many variables included within a single day of performance. If it's a single day or a multi-day type of event, that it gets a lot harder to kind of essentially muddy the waters with stuff that is not proven yet, because there's just such little things that are proven in ultra marathons. There's just not as much research behind it like there are with like the Olympic distance sports and things like that have the financial backing and things like that to be able to do the research. So you do have a little bit of freedom, I guess, to explore, whereas when you're doing some of the more standard stuff, it's a little harder to do that because you can be met with criticism if you're not in the kind of group consensus. But ultra running has so far avoided that to a degree, but it doesn't come without its pushback. So you're definitely right on that. I get a little bit of negativity from time to time.
But in your world, the proof is in the pudding. And dude, you set world records. That's going to get people's attention. What did Zach Bitter do? Because I want to replicate that.
Yeah, you see that a fair bit. I think my name does come up when endurance and low carb gets discussed quite a bit. So I'll have folks reaching out to me and chatting with them. And my approach has essentially been more or less when folks want to come to me and talk about it and they're interested in it, that's when I engage, because that's a person who's ready to listen to kind of the entire story versus just coming in with a preconceived idea of what's going to work, and you're gonna lean on that preconceived notion if they're already set in stone like that. So what I found is it's just a lot of fun working with folks who are curious, open-minded about it. Sometimes folks have been doing it for a while and they're just curious about, well, how does introducing an ultra-marathon training plan impact the way I'm eating already? And then all the way to the other side, I'll get folks who've been moderate high carb their entire life, and they've looked at some of the stuff that I've done and some of the information out there on low carb, and thought to themselves, this might be something that would work well for me, and this might be a way of eating that I'd actually prefer and enjoy, and I want to hear more about it. And then those folks are fun to work with too, because they're kind of early in on their journey.
Yep. Well, Zach, thanks for popping up. Kiana, any comments to Zach?
How does one go about training that way? Because for myself, I am a heavy lifter, and that cardio based, I just struggle with it. Like, I cannot run a mile without dying. So how do you get that like cardiovascular? How do you get that? Like for someone like myself, where do you start?
Yeah, are you interested just in terms of the training implementation, or from the nutrition side, or both?
Ooh, both.
Okay. Yeah, so this is one of the topics I'm really interested in, because the way I kind of think of it, or theorize about it anyway, is when you get to the two ends of the spectrum, so like the really, really high intensity power sports where it's so intense, your muscles fail before you could ever even get close to depleting liver and muscle glycogen. And then you have stuff like what I'm doing, and even further than what I'm doing. There's people even much crazier than I am and are running for days and days and days on end. But, that's so low intensity that your like average heart rate, if you're even remotely fat adapted, you could be burning like such high rates of fat during that intensity that you also are going to spare liver or muscle glycogen. Where it gets interesting is that middle area where you're going just fast enough where you are going to tap into liver and muscle glycogen in a meaningful way, but you're going just slow enough that you can do it for hours on end. So you have this kind of gray area in the middle where it gets a little trickier. There's a little more variables, I think, to account for. And I would put like a lot of the Olympic distance endurance events in that category. So the long endurance events being like 5 kilometers to the marathon, the middle distance or shorter endurance events like the 1,500 meter up to, say, like the 3,000 meter. And those are the ones that I think are a little more difficult to navigate with a kind of a this is what I eat every day type of an approach, or these are the macronutrient ratios that I hit on a day in day out basis. When I get into kind of training where I am doing some of the workouts that are a little closer to those middle ground ones, those are the times where I periodize my intake a little differently than I would say like in an off season, or where I'm doing just a lot of low volume or low intensity base building phases and or race specific training, which is going to be low intensity relative to like a mile run or something like that for me when I'm doing a 100-mile race or something like that. And I can kind of flex my carbohydrates down closer to like what you would consider a strict ketogenic diet versus where I am sometimes in kind of peak training, which I put more in like the low carbohydrate category. So sometimes it's just kind of like playing around a little bit with it when you're in those phases of training and kind of figuring out like, okay, I just did this really intense workout and tanked my liver muscle glycogen in the process. So if I am going to have a little more carbohydrates than I normally would, right after that might be a sweet spot to do it. Versus saying, I just had a rest day and I really didn't do anything glycolytic. I'm going to have like, some more carbohydrates. That wouldn't be the time that I would do it. Minus a scenario where I have like a huge workout the following morning or something like that, I'd possibly have a little more carbohydrate than I normally would, like for dinner the night before.
Nope.
And then the training stuff, it's like a lot of things. I think like first thing you want to do is you want to think about, well, what's the goal? And if the goal is a specific distance, so I'd say like the mile, you want to just kind of get an idea of what the intensity is going to be required to meet your goal within that event, and then kind of start planning backwards. So if I'm working with someone, they say, I have made a goal to break 8 minutes in the mile or something like that. Then we just need to look at, well, what intensity is it going to require to run a mile in 8 minutes? And then start kind of developing the programming in a way where you're focusing on some weaknesses earlier on in the training and some of the workouts that are going to be important to run that fast mile with that, but are like not specific to the race intensity itself. And you're going to do those things earlier because they're further removed from the event itself. And then as you move closer to that day where you're going to try to actually break that 8 minute mile, then you're going to want to be doing a lot of workouts that are very much focused on the intensity and the specifics of the event itself. So for something like a mile, early on, you might be doing training that's quite a bit lower intensity in that. You're just building like this aerobic foundation, a strong aerobic base. And then, you'll start doing some workouts as you get closer to it that are going to like mimic the pace you're going to do for 8 minutes in a mile. So that might be like going to the track and running, say like 8 times 400 meters with 2 minutes recovery in between, but each one of those 400 meter sessions are going to be at the pace that you're trying to do for that mile. So you're not actually doing the whole thing, but you're going the pace you're going to need to, and you're chunking it so that your body's getting exposed to that intensity and exposed to the mechanics and all the variables that go with running that pace. So then when it comes to the time to do it, you're just kind of piecing those puzzles together and doing it in one continuous push. That kind of makes sense.
I love that. Zach, you're hired. You can be a guest. We're going to bring you back on if you want to. Kiana?
Yeah, sorry, I got totally off topic, but I'm just so genuinely amazed at the distance. Like it was so incredible. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, and I'm serious. I'm serious, Zach. Reach out to me on DM and we'll set something up if you want to talk all about doing what you were just talking about. That's awesome stuff, man.
Cool. Yeah, let's do it, Jimmy. And well, I have to apologize too. I know you shot me a note earlier on here on Clubhouse, but I'm still learning how to use Clubhouse. So I had no clue how to respond.
You figured it out, man. We're here. I'm glad you popped in my room today. Yeah, when I saw you down there, I'm like, Zach knows all about negative people with what he's doing in his world. So thank you for coming up on stage, brother.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Kiana, this was fun. Dealing with negative people. We don't want to have to, but we do, don't we?
And look at how many positive people we found.
Yes.
I'm so glad.
See, it gives us hope for humanity that all is not lost. And of course, here on Clubhouse, I don't really get a lot of negative comments. I see a lot of newbie kind of keto people in the audience as well. It's fun because they don't need to be exposed to all that when they're just getting started. So I love that it's a very loving group. And you try to bring hate on Jimmy Moore's Clubhouse, I'm going to block you and get you out of here so fast it's not even funny. So, so guys, you're in the Keto Clarity Clubhouse. Definitely click on the green house at the top and subscribe. I love bringing on wonderful people like Kiana, good friends in the community, just having these casual conversations and talking to you, of course. And we do a lot of topical things. I do a morning show at 6 a.m. Eastern. If you're up, Kiana, I know you're on the West Coast, so that's no bueno. You're, what was it, 4 a.m. or 3 a.m.? You're not even up. Maybe you're still awake from the night before sometimes. But check it out, you guys, and we're here all day. Thank you so much for being here today, and we'll see you around the Clubhouse. Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you.